March 4th, 2026. 5:08 in the morning, Indian Ocean, 40 miles south of Sri Lanka. A U.S. Navy Mark 48 torpedo detonates directly underneath the Iranian frigate IRIS Dena. The blast lifts the entire stern out of the water. The keel snaps. The hull folds in half. 180 men are on board. The ship sinks in minutes. 87 dead. 32 pulled from the water barely alive. Over 60 never found. It was the first time an American submarine had torpedoed an enemy warship since World War II. 81 years. And the ship they chose was Iran's newest, most advanced warship, the one they'd been showing off to the world just 2 weeks earlier. This is how it happened. 2 weeks before the torpedo hit the ship, she was at the International Fleet Review in India, Iran's showpiece, built entirely under sanctions. Anti-ship missiles, air defense systems, 3D radar, 4 homegrown engines pushing 20,000 horsepower. She was photographed in formation alongside Indian, French, and Japanese warships. Iran's proof that sanctions couldn't stop them. On February 25th, the exercise ended. The Dena turned west for the long voyage home. 3 days later, her country was at war. February 28th, Operation Epic Fury. The United States and Israel launched the largest military strike in the Middle East since 2003. Supreme Leader Khamenei was killed in the first hour. Iran's military command was shattered. And somewhere in the Indian Ocean, the Dena's crew heard the news on the radio. Their homeland was burning. Their navy was under attack, and they were completely alone, thousands of miles from any of it. But the Dena's captain didn't know the worst part yet. While the bombs were falling on Tehran, the U.S. Navy had been given a separate order. Sink every Iranian ship that floats. No exceptions. No safe distance. His ship was on that list. Think about his situation. He can't go home. The Strait of Hormuz is shut down. Iranian ships are being destroyed on site. He can't dock anywhere because no country wants his warship in their harbor attracting American bombs. He can't hide. A 94-meter frigate with 4 diesel engines running announces itself across the ocean just by existing. So he keeps sailing west. International waters. Thousands of miles from the fighting. Not engaged in any combat. Under every rule of naval warfare, a ship in transit should be protected. That's what he's counting on. He doesn't know yet that international waters mean nothing when the order is to erase your entire navy. And he doesn't know that something beneath the surface has been following his ship for a very long time. An American nuclear attack submarine had been tracking the Dena. We don't know which boat. The U.S. Navy hasn't revealed it yet. A U.S. attack sub carries the most sensitive sonar system ever put to sea. It hears propeller noise, engine vibrations, generator hum from enormous distances. It doesn't just detect ships, it identifies them, matches acoustic signatures against a database, tells the operator exactly what he's tracking. Those 4 Banyan 4 engines Iran built for the Dena, the ones they designed under sanctions without access to Western vibration isolation technology, they were very loud. To the American sonar operator, the Dena had been broadcasting her exact position for days. Like driving through the desert at night with your headlights on, wondering why the helicopter keeps following you. The submarine sat deep, beneath the thermal layer, where temperature differences bend sound away from the Dena's sonar. The Iranian ship couldn't hear down. The U.S. submarine heard everything up. The American crew tracked her for hours, for multiple days, logging her speed, her heading, her engine rhythm, following her across the open ocean like a shadow she couldn't see. The Dena had anti-submarine torpedoes on board. She had her own sonar. On paper, she could fight back. In reality, detecting a modern American submarine with her sensors would be like trying to hear a whisper from across a football stadium. The submarine could see everything. The Dena could see nothing. And the men on that ship had no idea they were being watched. No idea that every course change, every speed adjustment, every watch rotation was being logged by a crew sitting in silence a few hundred feet below them. At some point, the submarine received authorization. And from that moment, there was nothing on that ship that could save her. The Mark 48 ADCAP, almost 2 tons, 650-pound warhead, over 55 knots underwater, wire-guided from the submarine so the crew can steer it in real time. If the wire breaks, the torpedo switches to its own sonar and finishes the job alone. One costs $4.2 million. The ship it was aimed at cost Iran over $100 million and took years to build. That ratio tells you everything.
The tube floods. The torpedo launches into dark water. Engine ignites. Wire unspools. On the fire control display, the crew watches it close the distance. On the Dena, nothing. No alarm, no sonar contact, no evasive action. 180 men have zero idea a weapon is racing toward them at 63 miles per hour beneath their hull. The Mark 48 dives beneath the keel, detonates under the stern. The gas bubble expands upward with catastrophic force. The stern lifts clean out of the water. The bow stays down. 1,300 tons of steel being pulled in 2 directions at once. The keel cracks. The hull folds. Compartments flood instantly across the entire length of the ship. Electrical systems short out. Lights go dark. Men who were sleeping in their racks are thrown into walls they can't see. Men on watch are standing on a floor that is suddenly a cliff. 180 men go from routine watch to catastrophic hull failure in under 10 seconds. Some never made it out of their compartments. Some made it to the surface and found themselves in dark water, miles from any shore, surrounded by fuel and debris and the sound of a ship breaking apart beneath them. Some climbed into life rafts and waited. The periscope footage shows it, calm surface, then the blast. The stern rockets up, then nothing. She's gone. Sri Lanka's Coast Guard got the distress call at 5:08 a.m. 2 ships and a search aircraft scrambled from Galle. They found oil, wreckage, life rafts, and bodies. 32 survivors pulled out, critically wounded. 87 bodies recovered. More than 60 never found. Hours later, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stood at the Pentagon podium. An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Then he released the periscope footage for the whole world to see. General Kane confirmed it as the first submarine torpedo kill by the U.S. since 1945. The last time it happened, the target was a Japanese warship in the final weeks of World War II. The only other nuclear sub to ever sink a surface combatant was the British HMS Conqueror in the Falklands War, 1982. That torpedo killed 323 men, and it changed the entire war. After the Belgrano went down, Argentina's entire surface fleet retreated to port and never sailed again. 1 torpedo, 1 sinking, and a whole navy too scared to leave the dock. The Pentagon was betting on the exact same result here. And here's the bigger picture that Dena's sinking fits into. Because she wasn't the only Iranian ship destroyed that week. She was the last one. In the first 72 hours of Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. Navy had already sunk or destroyed 17 Iranian vessels. At Bandar Abbas, 2,000-pound bombs went through the roofs of hardened shelters and crushed Iran's fast attack fleet inside. The boats they built to swarm the Strait of Hormuz in packs of 100. At Chabahar, bombs hit the submarine piers and dry docks. Iran's most operational submarine took a hit that left a hole in its side. The missile catamaran, Shahid Sayad Shirazi, sunk. The drone carrier, Shahid Bagheri, sunk. The forward base IRIS Dena sunk. Admiral Cooper said it publicly. Today there is not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, or the Gulf of Oman, and we will not stop. He meant it. The Dena was the proof. 3,000 miles from the war zone. International waters didn't matter. The message to every Iranian captain still alive was simple. If your flag says Iran and your hull is floating, you are a target. There is no safe distance. After March 4th, Not a single Iranian warship attempted to leave port. The fast attack boats that survived stayed chained to their docks. Submarines didn't move. The force that spent 30 years threatening to shut down the Strait of Hormuz and hold the global economy hostage couldn't get a single vessel out of harbor. The Iranian Navy was now, in the Pentagon's exact words, combat ineffective, decimated, destroyed, defeated. Iran's foreign minister called the sinking an atrocity, said America would bitterly regret this precedent. The Pentagon responded by letting the whole world watch the footage. One torpedo, $4.2 million, against a ship that cost $100 million and took half a decade to build under sanctions. Iran cannot replace her. They don't have the shipyards, the parts, or the industrial base. 30 years of building a navy from nothing, wiped out in 6 days. The submarine that fired the torpedo carries dozens more, and Iran can't build a single replacement. And somewhere in the Indian Ocean right now, that submarine is still out there, running silent, full magazine. The list isn't finished. If this one hit you, subscribe. We're covering every development of the US-Iran war in real time. Hit the bell. Next one drops soon. Bye for now.